Okay, I'm audible now, right? Okay, good morning everyone. So, when I received the invitation to become today's speaker, when I first received the invitation to become today's speaker, a question echoed in the back of my mind. What should I say to the audience today? And as I dwell into the theme for today, I realized that the best way to tell my story was to start from the beginning. And this was me, 10 years younger and thinner. So for those of you who don't know me, my journey with this incredible platform actually started a decade ago. So at this photo, I was actually delivering the closing remarks for that year's event. So as you might not have already known, I'm actually the founder of the first TEDxUKM. And so let's go back to the year of 2014 when it all started. So back in the year of 2014 when I was a university student, sorry, can we get a mic? Yeah. Can you close this?
Okay. Hello.
Ooh, hello. Okay, yay! Finally. Okay. So basically, as I was saying, right, I was actually back in 2014 when I was a university student. There was something called HP. Okay, now of course in the university it is known as Chitra. So back then, HP was something that is actually 8 skill sets in which you must complete if you want to graduate university. So you can do this by completing projects that were organized by people, or you can actually create your own project. So as a voracious consumer of TEDxUKM, right, I thought to myself, because I believe in the tagline of TED Talks, ideas worth spreading. So I thought, why not let's bring TEDx into UKM? So I did my research and I found that at that time, private universities such as Taylor's had already done a TEDx, but it had not been done in a public university before. So admittedly, being the kiasu student that I was, I thought, why not let's be the first public university to host the event? But at that time, the road forward was completely untrodden because it has never been done before yet in a public university. So there was a lot of sense of doubt and uncertainty. So what happens next was that I proposed this idea together with the fellow from my college, known as Abang Yusri, to the former pengetua, the principal of College Burhanuddin Hilmi, Dr. Kadri. So Dr. Kadri was very supportive of that particular idea, and he gave his blessings, and with that, we actually did TEDx under the executive council, student council of College Burhanuddin Hilmi at that point in time. So this year's theme of The Wandering Web actually speaks about that very pursuit that I just spoke of. It's a pursuit of new knowledge, of untold possibilities, and new perspective. So, as we all know, when you do a project, you need funding. So we started presenting this to the panel in the university to get funding for the project. But a question that hung heavy in the air was asked. As we all know, if you do project, this is always a very common question. What was the KPI of TEDxUKM at 2015? I was stumped. Because how do you quantify a spark? And how do you measure a ripple that has yet to even form? So I could not answer at that point in time. But now, a decade later, I finally do. I realized that the answer was never a number. The true measure of our success was the web that we were starting to weave. It was the web that connected me to those that saw the same possibilities, to my friends and to my team who dared to believe in something audacious. So, after that, we basically had a conversation. So we had a call for speakers. And one of the first speakers of the Vibrant Connection that I made was with Natusha Naidu. So as I was explaining to her the team, as well as the aspiration behind what I wanted TEDxUKM at that time to be, of an all-university student speaker, she challenged that very notion. She asked me a simple but yet powerful question. Why do we only limit our speakers to university students? And that simple but powerful question shattered my limitation of the aspiration of the TEDx that I want it to be. So that expanded my horizon, and we made TEDx to be bigger and better. And that year, our team, Be Change or Be Undone, felt more prescient than ever. Because of that single push, our stage became a vibrant mosaic of ideas, hosting intellectual, students, race car drivers, as well as esteemed professor. What had originally became only a spark had now became a beacon. So, going back to the original question, what's the KPI of TEDxUKM 2015? It's you. It's this room right now. It's every conversation sparked, every speaker who had found their voice, every person and every student who dared to weave their thread into this ever-expanding tapestry. So, that itself was something that I basically envisioned. And because of that itself, right, that connection had led me to be more involved and asking myself, how do I make it better? And I realized that the true measure of it as well is also seeing speakers and curators and leaders that have come after me. People like Shun Yong, people like Teenage, Chen, Raymond, Zijie, Jiawei, Atira, as well as this year's curator, Jess. So they had basically took that initial spark and fan it into the flame it is today. And if you see in this photo, after all that, the web does not just end on that very stage. It is about finding community. And I, with that web, carried with myself the question, how do I then continue to contribute to something bigger? And that led me to the NGO that we built together, known as Jakarta International English, where I started as a mentor and now to finally becoming an advisor to the organization. So, if you look at it from one perspective, what this journey has taught me is that when we started, we were never truly alone. We have only yet to find those that are also pulling on the same thread. So today, in a professional setting, I work as a legal compliance officer, and the thread that I'm weaving is of a different thread. It's a thread of accountability and of shared purpose. And that made me realize that instead of asking the question, how do I succeed? I should be asking, how do we all thrive together? And that is the web in its most profound form. So if you're sitting here today with a flickering idea and wondering if your idea is good enough, wondering if you are enough, let me assure you this: you are. You don't need a full roadmap of what you're going to do. You don't need to have all your answers figured out. You only need to take the step forward. Wander forward, guided by your purpose, anchored by your values, and be open to the connection that surrounds you. Because the Wandering Web isn't just the theme for this year's TEDxUKM. It is an architecture of change. It is us building a better world, one step, one story, and one thread at a time. So thank you, everyone.